Welcome back to my little channel. I'm going to try a new template. The template will be dubbed 2 minutes till midnight. Now the smarter ones among you may have recognized that the intro to this video comes from the song of Iron Maiden, 2 minutes to midnight, and there is a reason to it. Because that song will, in all fairness, be part of the driving factor behind this template. Now, I don't own their music, so it's probably going to be copyright striked anyway, but I don't care. It's the message that I want to get out of there. Because whether we like it or not, Iron Maiden made this song quite some time ago, and it did have some prophetic values. Because 2 minutes to midnight is how people describe the terrible situation just before the end. And they sang about stuff about how this world is heading towards disaster. And one of their main recurring themes, I will let you hear now. And funny enough, that recurring theme is the main reason why I started this template. To kill the unborn in the womb. Now feminists, not all, hashtag not all, feminists will make you believe that it's a woman's right to kill their offspring. And there's something seriously wrong with that. Now don't get me wrong, I am, funny enough, pro-choice. But I'm pro-choice in a limited way. There are limits to what we can accept. Obviously, unlike most of the Democrats in America now, I do not believe in abortion a day before birth. There is a limit. Now, if there's a health issue for the mother, then I can understand abortion. There are people who will say no, but that's a choice. Either you live or your child lives. That's a choice. There are other periods in time when I would say, okay, I can somewhat understand abortion. And I know everyone will say, yeah, but what about incest? What about rape? Funny enough, yeah, sure. I'm understanding of abortion in those situations. That boils down to roughly 0.01% of all abortions in America, though. Abortion has become a tool. A tool for those that don't want to be responsible for their action. And there are now states in America that are recognizing this, and they are bringing up their own laws. Basically saying, you know what, abortion? Yeah, sure, but there are limits. For example, the first heartbeat law. And it's not called the first heartbeat law, I'm just calling it that because it's a good description. What does that mean? Well, basically they're saying if there is a fetal heartbeat, then it cannot be aborted unless there is a real good reason. And I don't want it is not a good reason. And apparently, the Human Rights Organization of the UN is very concerned about the American states passing pro-life laws. Can you imagine this? The Human Rights Organization of the United Nations is against protecting the unborn child. Let that sink in for a second. And it gets funnier, because spokesperson of the United Nations Human Rights, Ravina Shamdasani, which is a very... No, I'm not going to attack her on her person. Never mind that. She is, however, the spokesperson, and she is very concerned by the measures sweeping across the United States. And is calling on the United States and all other countries to ensure that women have access to safe abortions and keeping abortions legal at an absolute minimum of rape, incest, or fetal anomaly cases. But it is, more or less. Well, I don't think it is after the first heartbeat, though. And let's be honest, before that first heartbeat, there are plenty of actions they could have taken. And Madame Shamdasani is falsely accusing the laws of imposing criminal penalties on the woman themselves, which is simply not true. I mean, yes, there are penalties for the doctors performing such actions, but not for the women. And obviously, there's this risk that they might change. They might not go to a doctor. They might try a coat hanger in the dark alleys or something like that, because it always boils down to that. But I'm sorry, jeopardizing the life, health and safety of the women concerned, who is jeopardizing them? I don't want to be rude, but if you want to have an abortion and you are legally not allowed to have one for obvious reasons, and you then choose to take risks, well, you know what? That falls under your own responsibility. And one would say don't, but there is that. No, we have to allow the killing of unborn children according to the United Nations Human Rights. Somehow, to me, this spells, well, disband the United Nations now, because they've lost all perspective on reality. Are all abortions bad? Well, no, there are still reasons to have legal abortions. But after the first heartbeat, it's going to become a little harder. If the child is indeed not going to be able to survive its birth, then yeah, sure, that's a very good reason for an abortion. But I want to finish my high school, funny enough, isn't a good reason. And I like it that the United Nations is falling over the United States for trying to protect the rights of the unborn child, whereas there are plenty of countries where the unborn child and the mother have no rights whatsoever. But yeah, far less important. It's easier to criticize the West for protecting itself than attacking the real problems out there. But the UN isn't a new player in the whole abortion debacle. Because let's be honest, not too long ago they already started complaining that all countries should lift their restrictions on abortion in the name of fundamental rights and gender equality. I think they mean sex equality, but in all fairness, when do men have the right to abort a baby? So it's not a gender equality thing now, is it? Don't get me wrong, I don't want men to have that right either. Unless, of course, there's a health risk to the mother. But yeah, I mean, women are allowed to terminate their unborn children, even without consent of their partner, because it's a woman thing, right? I applaud America, in all fairness, these strongly religious states in America, to protect the unborn child. It's a good contrast to states like New York, where they basically say, yeah, you know, a day or 5 minutes before birth is still a good time to abort. It's sickening that we have come to this, but apparently it's the path the United Nations wants the rest of the world to follow. Well, obviously not all of the world, because there are several countries that do not follow this line of reasoning, and they don't get criticized for it. But Western countries saying, you know what, we need to protect the unborn child? Well, how dare you? Especially the unborn child of Western people. No. You shouldn't be allowed to say no to abortions. Because women, obviously. Anyway, this is going to be my new concept or my new template when it comes to 2 minutes to midnight. I hope you enjoyed this one. There will be more to come. And never forget to read more than the headlines, because the United Nations are doing everything they can to become obsolete and hated by the people they claim to help. In the West, more and more people are opening their eyes. This isn't a left or right thing. This is an authoritarian versus freedom thing. And it's not them that are in favor of freedom. Anyway, like, share, subscribe. Criticism, as always, is more than welcome. And I hope to see you all next time.